In this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and create a rainbow eye effect in Photoshop. One of the first things you need to do is go into Google, go into Images. You want to go ahead and find an eyeball. Go ahead, use your tools, find one that's large and labeled for reuse. It's a lot easier to do one that is lighter colors than darker colors. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this eyeball here. I'm going to right click and save image as. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my desktop so I can find it in a little bit. I'm going to go into Photoshop. Go File, Open, not new, File, Open, go to my desktop and grab my image of my eyeball and say Open. From here, I want to go ahead and create a new layer above my background. So on my background layer, I'm going to go ahead and hit the Post-it so I get a new layer, because we're actually going to be doing the effect on the new layer. But let's clean up our eyeball a little bit before we do that. I'm going to go ahead, click on my background layer. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Control plus your zoom tool. I'm going to go over here, grab my spot healing brush. Go with the little circle. And I can adjust my brush size with my square brackets. I'm going to go in and take out some of the eye strain. It's totally up to you as to how much of that you're going to do. Alright, that's good enough for now for me. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and select my new layer. And I need to create my round dots that I'm going to overlay onto these images. So on my new layer, I'm going to go up and grab the brush tool. Clearly my brush right now is really huge. I'm going to use those square brackets. And I want to choose a bracket that is, or a brush size that is about the same width as the edge of the color to the pupil. I'm going to go ahead, go to my foreground color, and grab my first color. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some Kemper Red. On my new layer, I'm going to go ahead and stamp that one color. Now you'll notice that it didn't come in full color. So I need to go back, do a Control Z and undo, and check to make sure my hardness is at 100%. I'm going to bring that brush down a little bit, click up here, a little bit bigger. So you should get a solid color. And then I'm going to go over here, I'm going to make a yellow next, change the size of my brush until I get all the way around the pupil and the rainbow. It is just fine if they overlap. Actually makes it look just a little bit better if they do. Now, because we are doing these all on one single layer, you cannot nudge these after the fact. If you did them all on different layers, you could nudge them after the fact. In our case, we cannot. So make sure you get them where you want them the first time. Alright, so now I have a solid color of basically a rainbow completely surrounding that pupil. So I'm going to go over here to my overlay in my layers panel and choose overlay. So now I've got the see-through, but it's still not quite right. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to Filter, Blur, and I want the Gaussian blur. And you can adjust that based on how much do you want to blur those colors along. Do you want to be able to see the spots still? Do you not want to be able to see the spots? So I'm doing like 25 right now. So it's totally up to you as to what you're going to choose. Then I'm going to do a File, Save As, Rainbow Eye. I'm going to make sure I put it where I need to put it. So for me, that's in my folder as a PSD, and push Save. And that's all you need to do to create a rainbow eye really easily.